Hello and welcome to Near Dark Podcast, episode 85. I'm today's host, Zombie, and with me I have Josef,
Hi.
as well as Ink Blue. Oops.
Good. Oi.
And today we are gonna talk about the movie Hush from 2016. But before we jump into that, how is everyone doing? Lovely, as always, I see.
I'm pretty alright, are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
I'm okay.
Lovely.
We're having some amazing spring weather, so
That's always good.
can't really complain too much.
That's always nice.
Mm.
The weather is not really that cold. The sun is out longer than usual. That's good. Winter is almost over.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
But other than feeling good, have anyone seen anything recently? Other than this movie?
I watched one thing, unrelated to this. And that's Truth or Dare from, I believe, 2017 or 2018. It's if I remember right, it's a Bloomhouse.
Oh, that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Yeah, the one we
It is.
watched. Yeah, we watched it recently, like shortly after it was released.
Yeah.
It's pretty alright. Don't remember if Gray was that big of a fan of it,
I
but
thought it was great
yeah,
when
no.
I saw it.
Yeah, like
It's-
the
it-
first time, it was really like
yeah,
unexpected and whatnot because the faces were really just uncomfortable.
oh yeah, God yeah, the faces really stuck with me. It is, it's alright. It's nothing I would write home about, but like at least watching it once I would recommend, because like the first time you watch it, it's alright. Yeah, I can enjoy this. The second time around, I didn't enjoy it as much, but that was only because I knew everything that was gonna go down. And if you haven't watched it, but you have watched Happy Death Day or Countdown, it's fairly similar. Execution could maybe have been a little bit better, but yeah, overall it's pretty alright movie.
It is a great first time watch.
Mm.
Because,
I
like,
haven't
yeah.
watched it for like 2 or 3 years, but I remember really enjoying it. It's your typical teenage horror movie, so with a
Yeah.
truth or dare twist to it. Have any
Yeah.
of you guys seen the old Truth or Dare movies? They are slasher
No.
movies from the 80s and 90s, and I think the most recent one came out like 6 or 7 years ago.
I have
No,
not.
never even heard about it.
Well,
Neither have I.
they're trash, but
Lovely.
and this, I think the second sequel isn't even called. No, the first sequel isn't even called Truth or Dare. It's called something else, and the third one is called Truth or Dare 3.
That is a cringe moment.
Yeah.
That's a bruh moment right there.
It's
think-
like, why aren't you calling the second one Truth or Dare 2?
Yeah.
And then name the third one something like blah blah blah. And then in like a tiny text saying Truth or Dare 3. Or
Or as
something
a-
like that, because that makes
or as
sense.
a subtitle or something. But yeah, those movies are really shit. So I won't recommend those, but I recommend the Bloomhouse movie.
Yeah, Bloomhouse is very good at what they do.
They're a bit hit and miss.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're
I
great,
mean-
sometimes they're really not.
I mean, like, they buy up shit ass titles and then pump them out just so they are able to like release big movie titles like for example Don't Breathe. Like they pumped in a lot of good, like they put in so much money into it, and the execution was very good, like good shit. Then they pump up like 10 bad, like quote unquote bad movies, like a little bit less comparison to Truth or Dare. Yesterday, like
Stay relevant.
yeah, they stay relevant. They keep on having an income, like they're able to put in more money into movies they think like, oh, this is gonna be a good one.
Yeah.
And then they release a few bad ones, just like, yeah.
Can't really say I think that any of their movies are bad.
Like when it's good, it's good.
They're lesser good, but
Like when it's good. But otherwise, it's meh, I guess.
yeah.
I mean, I've seen one or two that's been like complete fucking garbage, but majority of the movies are definitely higher shelf movies. Not okay, they're not like Alien and The Thing. That's like absolute top shelf, but a lot of them are at least like second or third shelf in my book. Like,
Well, the top shelf do have a little space.
They're good. They're good
yeah.
modern horror movies.
Yeah.
Speaking of Don't Breathe, by the way, my recently seen is Don't Breathe 2. I won't go into that much since we will probably cover it at some point, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really fucking good.
I'm completely gonna say against you. It's not good. It's not a needed sequel.
No, it's not a needed sequel, but I thought it was good for what it was.
No, honestly, I think they could have made it a what's it called, a separate movie,
A
like
standalone.
yeah, not really a standalone, but you know how like they take this
Spin-off.
script and no, like they take the script and they with Prometheus, like they slap on Alien, Prometheus, woo, and it's like, but why? It's just like if the movie would have had a different name and been like its own story, I could have said like, yeah, no, it's a decent movie.
Kind of like Halloween 3.
Yeah, but when they slap on, oh, this is a sequel or a prequel or a third movie to this one movie that was super good, that is just like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Like, stop. You like no.
Because it's an established IP, so they can milk more money out of it.
At the suffering of the rest of the franchise.
But yeah, I really enjoyed Don't Breathe too. Like I said, we will probably cover it.
Talk about it at some
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. But then we have to cover the first one first.
We
Yeah,
have
we have
Oh,
already
never-
talked about it. Augie picked it a while back, like I think
Never mind
a
that.
year ago. Yeah, I
2
think we
years,
watched
I think.
it.
I do
watched
not
it, like,
remember
last
watching
spring or
that.
something. You might not have been in on the episode.
Maybe not.
Yeah, I mean, like you're in on majority of the episodes, but eventually there's one one episode you're not in.
It may have been before my time, so to speak.
No, I think you were there. I think you were still in there.
In the background, hovering.
Yeah, same.
Besides that, I've watched a lot of action and thriller movies since we last recorded, but I managed to rewatch a Wes Craven produced horror movie from 2006, I think it came out. It's starring, amongst others, Michelle Rodriguez, who played, I think her character's name was Rain in the first Resident Evil movie. She plays the badass soldier chick in Resident Evil, the first one.
Ah, the one that gets better.
Yeah, exactly.
Ah, right.
And she is also in the Fast and Furious franchise as
Yeah.
well. Anyway, The movie is called The Breed, and it's about a group of friends who go to an isolated island for a weekend of booze and sexy time, and they soon find them under siege by a pack of wild dogs. And well, the whole movie, you know, they have to get out of there somehow, and they're under constant attacks by these dogs who seems to be more intelligent than regular dogs for some reason, which I won't go into. But I think Blue would enjoy that one because there are a lot of dogs in it, and it's quite violent as well. So, have any of you seen it?
No.
No, I have not.
Well, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
So,
Anything else you've watched?
well, The Walking Dead.
Given.
I'm on season. What season am I on now? 5, I
You've
think.
been watching so much that you forget the seasons.
Yeah.
How many seasons are there?
No, season 6.
Like 11?
Yeah, 11. The 11th
Halfway
one will
there.
be the last one. Yeah, I'm on season 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like it wasn't that long ago since they released like the first episode of
It's
Walking Dead, but then you remember like it's over 10 years ago
it's
now.
12 years ago.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Time flies by.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's everything I watched. I think at least.
What you can remember.
Like I said, I've
And-
watched a
yeah.
bunch of action and thriller movies, but I'm not gonna go into those.
Yeah.
Actually, I watched I watched a lot of TV shows and whatnot. I'm on season 6 of Bones. No, season 7 even. And there was a new Marvel series that came out not too long ago on Disney Plus called Moon Knight, and I think both of you would enjoy it. Actually, it's action comedy. It's kind of like Venom, a little bit like Venom.
Hmm.
So I think both of you would enjoy it. It's just 3 episodes right now. They release every Wednesday. Me and Gray sat down and watched it. He asked me if I wanted to watch it with him. I'm like, sure, why not? I'll give it a chance. I'm not typically a fan of Marvel's TV shows. Like, I love the movies, but not the TV shows hasn't really been my taste. But this one it's funny, it's creative, it's interesting. It's a little bit of a, it's a little bit like jumpy. And when you watch it, you will understand what I mean, but it doesn't take away from how good it is.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's on Disney Plus. Releases every Wednesday. It's
What
good.
was the title again?
Moon Knight.
Moon and Night. Okay.
Yeah.
Like a knight in shining armor.
Yeah, Night of the Move. Yeah,
Oh,
pretty much.
okay.
Yeah.
I've seen the trailer for that show.
Yeah. It's good. Main character reminds me very much of the guy that plays Hulk.
Bruce Banner.
Yeah, he reminds me very much about Bruce Banner. But yeah, it's good. Since I've only watched the first 2 episodes, so good. And I mean, I recommend it.
Nice,
Good.
nice.
Yeah, like I can't really talk about it without spoiling everything, but it's like nice.
We'll have to check it out ourselves then.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if for anyone who's listening, it's not a horror or anything like that. I believe it's some form of like action.
I don't think
action comedy.
The Marvel Universe has any horror, to be honest.
I don't think so either.
Didn't
But yeah.
X-Men, is that Marvel or
Marvel.
DC.
Marvel.
Marvel. Okay. The latest X-Men movie. What was that one called? Something Freaks. No, the New Mutants, I think. And that's
Wow.
supposed to be some sort of horror movie, from what I've understood. But it's a shitty horror movie, but it's still horror. From what
Alright.
I've heard, at least. I haven't seen it myself, but
Hmm. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So, I just recommend that.
Yeah. Shall we move on to the movie? Or rather, the trailer
Yeah.
of the movie. Unless anyone has anything else to add.
no.
Not really, no.
Well then, let's roll the trailer. Maddie Young is a deaf and mute writer who lives a life of solidarity. While trying to write the ending to her latest book, she realizes that she is no longer alone and must now fight for her life against a masked killer. So, as you have watched it most recently, what do you think about it, Blue?
So it's a rewatch for me. I watched it when it came out on Netflix, back in 2016. I wanted to remember it as this like really good movie. Now, the quality of the viewing might have been lowered because it was I had to speed watch it on 1.5 times speed, aka way faster than you're supposed to watch a movie.
Yeah.
And I don't understand how people like watch YouTube and shit on like sped up like that. Like, is this bruh?
That feels like you're
But
watching it to stress yourself out.
oh yeah, 100%. I thought it was okay. Like, I wanted to remember this movie as really good. I like the concept. I do. Like, a deaf mute person living out in bumfuck nowhere. Like, she's living my fucking dream. I would love to live out there
Yeah.
if I had good internet quality. Like, if I had fiber out there, you would never see me again. I swear. It's like the idea good. Execution could be a little bit better. I I didn't feel like I connected to the main character as much as it would have been like needed to make this like really good.
Yeah.
If you would have had more time and more build up to she's a deaf mute. Besides, like, only her sister basically telling us everything. And it's like, oh, I'm so worried about you, boo hoo hoo. Like,
Yeah, it felt like
maybe like when she's burning her food, maybe do a flashback to like the hospital when she was diagnosed with, oh, you're deaf mute. Like, maybe do that, because the neighbor does say, like, oh, she had a bad infection or whatever.
yeah.
Do a throwback. Give us some, like, backstory. Make us connect to Maddie more and feel
Yeah.
and like actually make us worry about this character, this person, because all it seems is just like she's basically a fucking bounty for this guy, and he is hunting a stranger down because no reason at all. Okay, there are people out there that is that fucked in the head that, oh, I'm just gonna run around and murder people and I'm gonna count them, whatever. But still, like, I didn't feel like I had a connection to her, or like felt bad for her or nothing. I'm like, oh, cool. She is a well-known author that's doing well for herself, even though she's deaf and mute. That's great. That's like showing, even if you have these disabilities, you can still do great things. And yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Something I came to think about while watching the movie, though, was like a question to you guys. How would you handle if you had, like, she had a bad, I think, sinus infection or something that rendered her to be deaf and mute?
Yeah.
Like, how would you guys handle that? Like, would that be the end of the day for you? Like, nah, I'm not gonna continue living, because the life standards going from being able to talk and communicate and listen and hear things lowers your life's quality, technically speaking, when you go from being fully capable to, well, basically being disabled, or, well, basically you are disabled.
Yeah.
Even if you aren't bound to a wheelchair. Like, how would you guys handle that?
Since I'm a music lover, I would kill myself, I guess. No, but to be serious for a second, well, I kind of guess it's a a challenge to overcome.
Yeah, like,
the first year or two, you probably would struggle a lot with the acceptance and everything.
yeah, and then like learning sign language, learning to read lips. That would be that would be hard.
Like, you would just realize just how much you've lost, and just appreciate more of what you have, and try and focus on that rather than what you don't have anymore, and try and, well, I can like see, and so I can still appreciate the beauty of things, even if I can't always hear sounds anymore.
Yeah.
And yeah, it would definitely somewhat isolate you from other things, but there are communities out there if you look for them and whatnot. So
yeah, like I actually knew this deaf guy from Twitch. He used to show up on a friend of mine's stream, and like, she had Shatters tell him, like, if he asked something, she would answer through, like, someone having the time to just write it for her, until she got this. There is a program you can have that like makes whatever you say on stream show up on the stream as text, which I think is really
like
great.
it subtitles it on the go.
Yeah, it's like you're more inclusive, and so it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, if anything, I don't think we would be able to do this podcast anymore if all of us went at the same time.
it'd be a bit of a hard time.
You just hear a
Yeah.
lot of robotic voices as we type to each other.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there's quite a few musicians that are deaf, and I know this Spanish opera singer, either he's Spanish or Italian, I can't remember exactly, but one or the other, and he is amazing at singing, like he has an amazing voice, and he reads what he sings in, it's called something where you read with your fingers.
Braille.
I think, yeah, Braille. Like it's so cool, and like he's overcome the fact that he's blind so well. But yeah, no, personally, I don't think I would be able to go on. I rely too much on my hearing because of my dog. It's just like, if I don't hear a fucking child coming up behind us, the risk is that that child is gonna have a dog in their face, and it's not gonna be pretty.
Yeah.
So it's just like, nah, and like Joseph says, like music is fucking everything.
It
Oh,
is.
yeah.
I mean, like being mute, I could probably deal with, but not.
Yeah, I don't have that
Like-
much to say anyway, so might
Like,
as well
mute-
be mute.
It is easier to deal with. I think at
Yeah.
least for people like I guess us that doesn't speak much. We are people of few
Yeah.
words. But sounds is so like just when you play a game, the ambient sound, the music can
Yeah.
make like half of the atmosphere of anything.
When you sit with like a stack of diamonds in your inventory in Minecraft and you're walking over lava and surprise, surprise, skeleton.
Yeah.
You sit there deaf, can't hears fuck all. So la di da di da, my day's great. Bam! Lava.
Yeah, I
Like,
think at the very least you at the very least a depressive episode or of some sort would ensue
Oh,
soon after.
Yeah, no, definitely. I believe like the loss of one of your core senses is definitely like it's gonna be a gut punch.
Yeah. Because I feel like muteness somewhat is easier to deal with because of like things like text to speech and whatnot, rather than hearing, because you can't like have something that makes you hear. If you hear bad, sure. But things like hearing, taste, smell, and sound, sight and touch, and I'm repeating myself. All of those things cannot be replicated in the same way that speech can.
Yeah.
Like, sure, it's really limiting in your day-to-day life, regardless, but it's easier to overcome in a way.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen movies where they use like whiteboards and shit for a mute person to be able to speak. I would never be able to use that because my handwriting is like a doctor.
Oh yeah, I've noticed.
Yeah, like I, even like I spell like a fucking dumbass, and I write like a doctor. So this is like,
Right, like a doctor.
you know how like when you get you see in like movies where doctors like they write and you can't make out a fucking word of it because they write it so fast and so sloppy. That's my handwriting.
Okay. I got you.
Like basically, it's just almost just a line with dots on it, and somehow
Yeah.
nurses are able to read whatever it is they wrote.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, anything else you'd like to say about the movie?
Not really. I love the fact that he's using a crossbow. Because that shit takes a lot of muscles to use.
Oh yeah.
But other than that, I'm just like kind of disappointed with. I wanted to remember this as a super good movie, and then it's just like this meh.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's like a 3 out of 10. Could be better. But yeah, no.
Fair. Joseph, what did you think about it?
I saw this in November of 2020, and I think I mentioned it on the show as well.
We might have, yeah.
So this was, of course, a rewatch for me. I after I had finished the film, I went back and read my review of it, and I was thinking I could read a snippet from it for you.
Yeah.
Okay, here goes. I don't know why I haven't seen it until now, especially since the idea about a deaf and dumb character who has to fight with an intruder in her home sounded like a fresh take on the nowadays pretty tired home invasion subgenre. I like the idea, but at the same time, I couldn't shake the feeling that the movie pretty much followed the standard template of all home invasion movies, and the fact that it didn't really do anything new. The movie wasn't bad, but it felt like they could have done so much more with the concept they had than what they did. So yeah, I think I still stand by that statement. To be honest, it's Hush is a good movie, but some of the potential with the concept was, in my opinion, wasted. With that being said, it has a really good cat and mouse moments, which keeps you on edge, at least during a first time watch, as well as a couple of twists and turns here and there. For example, when she imagines how she's gonna get out of there,
Yeah.
which really surprised me the first time I watched the movie. I was like, okay, she died. What the fuck?
Yeah, it was saying to me like, oh, she died, but there's still like a bunch of time left of the movie. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I was scratching my head the first time I saw the film. And I think Kate Siegel, I think her name is, the woman who plays Maddie, and John Gallagher Jr., who plays the intruder. I think both of them are excellent in their roles. Even though I think Gallagher should have, had his mask on for longer.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the creepiness of the character
Goes
yeah,
away.
it kind of dies when he takes off the mask.
I feel like he could have taken it off, but at the very same time he could have just put it on again.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the creepiness could have stayed if you just put it on again. Like it's not the same. Like you don't know who it is, but at the same time, it's still the mask that does like the creepy
Yeah, like-
atmosphere.
A faceless killer is quote unquote scarier than a killer that you can see the face of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what makes Michael Myers scary, for example.
Yeah.
and they could have done it so easy that he could have just taken his like face off and just you show the back of his head and show
Yeah,
her
yeah.
full reaction to it, and then have him take it back on. So now she knows it, but we don't.
Yeah,
So
that
it's
would have
similar
made
to us.
it would have made the Gallagher character a lot more scarier
Yeah.
than what he is, because
Yeah,
when he takes off the mask, he basically becomes some random
This dude.
Yeah, this dude.
Yeah, this one guy is stalking this one deaf mute girl.
Yeah.
And like the fact that the neighbor talks about her, like the invader, he doesn't know who she is or anything. He's just there to kill a random person for no fucking reason at
He's
all.
doing
Yeah,
it for sports.
Yeah.
Exactly, no fucking reason at all.
He just happened to catch fancy of her because she was deaf,
Yeah.
and he could play with that.
Yeah, I think he thought she would be a easy target because she was both deaf and dumb.
Yeah. I think Yeah, he pretty much says that at one point that because he could technically get in at any point that he wanted to, and he was just
Yeah.
playing with her
Yeah.
for funsies.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, I think it's a good movie, but I think they should have done more with the concept. What exactly that would be, I don't know, but at least something. Because
Yeah,
the movie feels a lot like they have this concept that could have been a bit more different from all of the other home invasion slashers.
yeah.
But it basically threads the beaten path or whatever it's called. They're doing the same thing every other home invasion movie does.
They could have played more with the concept of her being deaf. Because they had like some really nice scenes where she was looking one way and they pan behind her, seeing someone come, and neither you nor she heard it due to the deafness.
Yeah,
And like I think they did something very similar to A Quiet Place, where you had the deaf daughter, where they had the monster right behind her.
I haven't seen those movies yet.
Okay, but they do a similar thing there, that I think worked really well for the thing. And yeah, it if they played around with that more, it would have been better.
Hmm.
And
I
if they
think,
had like
they should have kept Gallagher more in the shadows as well.
yeah, in the
Because
dark.
Since that would have probably up the
Yeah.
up the terror in the film.
Yeah. Have you given it a rating yet?
No, my rating will be 7.5 out of 10.
Nice. Do you have anything else to add on to it?
No, I don't think so. I can't come up with anything.
Yeah, I just mention it later if it comes back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think very similar to what you two have mentioned, that it's a good concept that they have here, with a deaf victim with every disadvantage at their disposal. But they didn't utilize that enough, I feel. And I feel like
Yeah.
the setting of the movie, or rather the house, was very uninteresting.
Yeah.
Because it was very small, very simple. If they would have like a bigger place where more hiding spots or more places to like hide in the darkness, that it could have been more than just him being on the outside more. It could have been very much both are on the inside, but the house is so big, so they are just running away from one another inside the house more, where she would be. It would feel more high tension then.
Yeah.
You want more kind of action in the movie rather than
The suspense would be more, because at the current the movie was like, that house has so many windows, so many windows on the doors and whatnot. And sure, that gives her the vantage point of seeing him walk outside. But at the same time, it felt like, man, that house is so bad.
But I think it's more like the house is probably a like summer sort of cabin you go to, not
Yeah.
somewhere you stay year around.
Or rather, it's a simple aesthetic thing with the house.
Yeah.
With this
Yeah.
small cabin, it's more of a modern thing. It felt like she was just in one big room, even though there were more than one room.
Yeah.
He was just circling over and over, and then she popped her head out once in a while, and he retaliated on that.
Yeah.
Rather than if they were both in the house, she hiding, him coming over. It would have been more action and also more suspense, because he would have been more active rather than inactive and just walking around for funsies.
Yeah.
Because then he could have played more with her fear of walking around the house. They simply could have done more than what they did with the movie.
Yeah.
And the concept overall.
The concept
Because-
is great, but the execution is a bit lackluster.
Oh yeah, it felt that way very much. Because like the majority of the movie, she's inside and he's outside, and like that's it. Most of like everything.
He doesn't really try to get in during
Yeah.
the movie, really, either.
Like-
He just teases her, and
And like in the beginning, yeah, he was like, oh, "I'm gonna go get you. I'm gonna get you." And then like if she opens something, he will try and get in, sure, but she rarely does that.
Yeah, it's not like he is like he like there like you said, there's so many windows in the house. He could have however fucking easily just broken a window. Like what you do is you wrap a towel or like a clothing item around your elbow and you just break the window.
Yeah, like maybe he just wanted to play with her before he went in and did that, but he could have at the very least robbed her of the security of the house more than he did by
Yeah.
breaking something, by doing something actively to be like, oh yeah,
No.
I'm just choosing not to come in, I can very
Yeah.
much do so, and actively like do it by breaking the locks of a lot of the doors and whatnot,
Yeah.
and be like, you're not actually safe in there, you're only safe because I'm not
I
doing it.
choose to.
Yeah, because I choose to not do anything.
Yeah.
Because to some degree, it kind of felt like, oh, what's the movie? Inside, I think is the one,
oh yeah,
the French one,
yeah.
where you have this very brutal killer who just get knocked down a lot all the time. And like, she was worse because she killed a lot of people very gruesomely. But at one point, when they just get hammered continuously, they stop being scary, especially with him having a face, simply put.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will rate this movie a 4 out of 10, because like it's not totally garbage, but it missed the marks on a lot of the potential it had.
Yeah. Definitely.
But yeah, any specific scenes anyone wishes to talk about or anything like that?
Honestly, the ending, I like, since I haven't watched this since 2016, the ending caught me a little bit by surprise. I was like, oh, she's fucking dead. She's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And she has all these flashbacks that should have been through the whole movie, not just there.
Yeah.
And she just jabs it. I'm like, nice.
Yeah, and due to us not really getting to know her character too much before the action happened, I would have been totally fine with either one.
Yeah, really and truly, like I'd be fine with her just right there.
I think the
Like-
ending is a bit dragged out as well. You know, she
Yeah.
kills him. She lays on the floor. She passes out, and she wakes up. And then
Walks
she goes.
outside.
And then she goes out on the porch. And then you get to see her sit there with her cat, and you hear sirens, and you see the ambulance and police cars in the
Police.
background.
Yeah.
They should have just ended the movie with her passing out, and then you could
Oh,
hear sirens in the background. And
Yeah.
Yeah, like they could have let her
it would.
call 911 and then as she hits like call, she passes out.
Yeah, and then you hear the sirens, and because that would have ended the movie in a way that you don't know if she survived or if she died.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the way they ended it now is oh, she's fine, even though earlier in the movie she's like, you might bleed out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you lose that amount of blood, your body is gonna pass out from shock
Yeah, and like
and blood loss.
she had already had blurry vision. She already had fell down multiple times, but suddenly,
And she had
but
several wounds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and a crushed hand.
yeah,
Yeah.
and suddenly
Like-
because he managed to murder the killer,
The-
suddenly she's better. Huh?
Oh yeah.
She just needed a little nap. She just needed a little nap, and that brought back most of her blood.
Yeah, 100%. It's not like, oh, I fall asleep with a massive wound in my leg. It's totally not like, oh, my blood is gonna understand that, oh, I cannot pump out several ounces of blood into the bloodstream to prevent this, like, oh, my body is catching up on, I am losing a lot of blood, so the heart is gonna pump out more blood. Oh no! My body's gonna understand that I am passing out, and and my heart should just like calm down a little bit and not pump out as much blood because I'm gonna bleed out if
Yeah.
it does.
Yeah.
Like, oh my.
But yeah, I think I agree with Joseph. If you just heard the sirens in the background and just having her hear that and then just immediately like pass out, not knowing if she was gonna make it or not.
It
Like
would,
really make it look like she was maybe not gonna make it.
it would make the ending more
Open.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, did she make it? Did she not?
Yeah.
And like that is the consequences of her actions. That maybe she didn't make it, but she
Yeah.
killed the killer. But maybe they did each other in. Actually. So yeah, that would have been. I think that would have been a better ending to have it like questionable whether or not she made it, rather than having it more of a happy ending where, oh, she's alive, traumatized, sure, but alive.
Yeah, well, the entire movie is just pure darkness. So why should the ending be, a
Yeah.
happy ending?
Well, they did spare the cat as well, so they didn't want to go all the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, but still, I think the ending should have been darker than. what
Yeah,
it
they
is.
they they didn't pull all the punches all the way.
No.
No, if they would have left it off with, oh, is she gonna survive? And then, like, not knowing would have made the movie so much better. Because a lot of movies does that where, oh, like the house is on fire and we don't know if, like, the fire truck people get there in time and stuff like that. Like, shit like that amps up the ending and amps up the movie to be so much better than what it is if you get to see it. Because really and truly, the amount of bloodlust she had and the adrenaline would have worn off after she legitimately killed him. She would have realized how much pain she's in, how
Yeah.
much blood she's lost, and she would have passed out, logically speaking.
Yeah.
Because
The adrenaline would finally let her feel pain. Actual
Yeah.
pain.
yeah, and she would most likely pass out from the amount of pain she's feeling.
If not for the bloodlust.
Yeah. Like, then again, sure, movies are movies, and movies are never gonna be, like, true to real life, but still, it would make more sense, and the movie would be better if it was
Yeah, like
more logical.
not every movie needs a clear-cut ending.
Yeah.
Because sometimes not knowing is half the fun.
Yeah.
Sure, some movies make it like, ooh, is the killer dead or not? And usually it's never dead, truly, for
Yeah.
sequels and whatnot. But it's also very much fun when you do the same, but with victims instead.
Yeah.
I personally think that is more fun, fun,
Uh,
entertaining.
Have you guys seen The Strangers, the first movie?
yep. I've seen it
No.
3 times.
Yeah, well,
I have
Blue,
not.
Blue, you know how that movie ends, right?
Yeah.
That is one of those endings that I really like when it comes to home invasion movies. When it's just
Mm.
pure darkness.
Yeah. It's like to me, it's just like when a movie ends with the killer, like, are they dead or not? That to me just signals that, oh, we're gonna get a sequel or a prequel. While is the survivor dead or not, that kind of leaves it open. It leaves it a little bit open for a sequel, but at the same time, it leaves it very much open to be interpreted as you want, like as for you as the viewer.
Yeah.
Like right now, what we're doing, like, oh, let's say that it would just cut to black like we want, then we could be discussing like, oh, I think she's alive, or Joseph might be like, nah, she's fucking
Yeah.
dead. she bled out on the floor.
Like that is more for the viewer rather than
Yeah.
the continuation of the series.
Exactly. It's just like it's so much more fun, and you would leave the viewer to be able to think about the movie more and give it like more thought, and rewatchability would,
Yeah.
to me, like, the rewatchability of the movie would go up with, oh, she might die, she might not die, and you will watch the movie again, and you will take into consideration the small things, and like be on the lookout for different things that you didn't think about the first time you watched it.
Yeah, and it's just like fun to have an ending where like you're not sure if it's not necessarily a good ending, but it's not necessarily a bad ending where everyone does
Yeah.
die. And it's not a good ending because everyone does make it, or like you have one survivor. But you have an ending where maybe if you want it to be a
Yeah.
good ending, they survive. If you want it to be a bad ending where everyone loses, they die.
Yeah.
The ending is
It's
in your
just-
hands.
Yeah.
Especially in movies where they do kill the killer. It's a question of did they win or did they do each other in, kind of way.
Yeah.
Like did the killer in a sense actually win this, because even though they died, they did actually manage to kill you as well.
Yeah, cause like technically he is sitting there with his hands around her neck, and like even if he dies, it still takes a moment for the muscles to relax, and so
Yeah.
for the body to catch up on, oh, I'm dead.
Yeah.
It's like chickens. If you cut the head of a live chicken, it runs around for a good amount of time after the head is gone.
Yeah.
Because the body hasn't caught up on, oh, I'm headless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can just pretend that that's how the movie ended.
Would you guys like a sequel to this?
No.
I don't think you can make a sequel to this one. You can make
Well, you technically could. I mean, if they could bring back Michael Myers after H2O, they can do anything.
I refuse.
I mean, sure, they can bring him back, but
I I don't mean that they could bring back this killer, but they could put the Maddie character in a new situation with
Yeah.
a new killer or
You-
multiple new killers.
you kind of mean like Happy Death Day to Me.
No.
Or whatever.
No. what I mean is that they could set the sequel a couple of years after this one. She had moved on with her life. Her career has
Bloom because she
yeah
managed to make a new book about this experience or whatnot.
yeah exactly, and then a psycho fan stalks her and it's rinse and repeat. She has to
And
fight for her life for her life again.
and maybe she just became a little bit smarter this time.
Yeah.
I mean,
For example.
The idea would be good, but I think the execution would be hard.
Yeah.
It would be hard making that.
I feel like if they did it, they should use different characters and simply use a similar situation where like it's in the same universe where like, oh, did you hear about what like you have this deaf person and like, oh, did you know what happened to this deaf author? This and that happened, and this person has like a book of theirs.
Would have been funny if they asked, "Did you hear about?"
Yeah. Ah, shit.
Oh wow!
That'd be such a fucking asshole thing to do, though. Like, bro.
Well, I think it happens more than it should, to be honest.
Yeah, probably. I mean, if you're not used to hanging out with someone who's deaf, then you probably do that by accident.
Yeah, and
quite a few times.
And some people with disabilities does use it to their like advantage to be like, ah, you asshole, you, to make fun of their friends and whatnot. But yeah, I feel like if they would make a sequel, it would have been like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where you have like this person who's a very different kind of character who reacts very differently because either they newly became deaf, someone made them deaf simply because they wanted to do this kind of sick twisted thing, or they were just born that way, and so they have a different relationship with their deafness rather than a character that lost what they once had.
It'd be interesting to watch a movie where a person were made deaf by someone intentionally.
Oh yeah.
Just to like. I've seen movies where, like they break ankles and knees and whatnot. Like they make the person, bound to a wheelchair and whatnot,
or actively amputate them altogether.
Yeah, to put them in a situation where the person is like the victim is dependent on the person that did it, but most often the person that is the victim doesn't even know that the person they're relying on were
the
behind.
We're the one that put them in the very situation they need them for.
Yeah, it's like movies like that are very interesting, but I would be interested in watching a movie where the person, the victim has become deaf one way or another by the person they're relying on.
Yeah.
To make it like different, because there's a lot of movies out there where the victim has become wheelchair bound one way or another because the bad guy is doing it.
Yeah. I feel like that would be a more interesting like sequel to this movie. And like if they wanted to have like a series of it, just have it a series of this same occurring thing, but just with different characters in different scenarios and different varying like levels of hearing and how they got there.
Yeah.
And different environments and everything.
Make them different classes of the economy.
Yeah.
like it doesn't have to be a well-known author. It might be a college student or a middle school kid with
Yeah.
with like a poor background or something.
Yeah. And like you don't need to make them totally deaf. You can make them have hearing aids or something.
Yeah.
Because I feel like taking reoccurring characters in, especially this kind of sense, would be it would be very hard to like make good, because of how we have already seen the competence of this character. But yeah, I think it also would be very nice to see just different environments for this kind of movie, because it was very much just one place.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the home invasion subgenre for you.
Yeah. But it felt very much because of how little the space it got more noticeable.
Yeah, I don't
But
know.
yeah,
Do we have more things to talk about, or
I don't really have anything else to mention about this movie, or
yeah, same
any
here.
scenes or characters.
Besides that, the cat was fucking cute. So no.
Oh yeah, love the name also.
Bitch.
Wait, did she legit name the fucking cat bitch?
Yeah, she did.
Oh, oh my
It was
God.
on the collar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I just saw like Maddie's name and didn't pay too much attention to it.
Yeah,
And I legit thought like she said that. Oh, the cat is a bitch.
I think that's what
Bi-
she named it a bit.
Oh my god. Okay, that's funny. That's actually kind of funny.
Yeah. Shall we move on to the trivia of the movie?
Yeah. Sounds like a good idea.
Okay, background.
Yes.
The budget was $1 million. Director Mike Flanagan and co-writer and star Kate Siegel are a married couple and conceived the storyline for Hush while on a dinner date in 2014. And they wed in February of 2016. It
Right.
was filmed in 18 days. And Flanagan said that he made the main character deaf mute because he wanted to direct the film without dialogue. The possibility of making the film entirely silent was briefly considered, but was soon abandoned when Flanagan had decided that building tension with this
Would be hard.
with this limitation would be impossible. He also noted that the target audience would not have been used to silent films, and as such would in quotations seek out every kind of audio stimulus anywhere else in the environment. So what he means is that people wouldn't watch the film. They would probably get bored by it and start to do something else because it would be completely silent.
I think that's very logical because these days people want a lot of sounds, lots of loud sounds, and if it's not there, it's just not interesting anymore.
Yeah. And building on top of that, because the main character being deaf and mute, it wasn't a lot of dialogue in the movie. And altogether, there were less than 15 minutes of dialogue in the entire 1 hour and 20 minutes that the movie ran.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The script itself consisted largely of scene directions, which Flanagan and Siegel developed by acting out in their own house. The fact that so much of the script was based around Flanagan and Siegel's house proved problematic for filming. As when they went to shoot the film in Alabama, they could not find a house similar enough to theirs and had to significantly alter the film's script because of that. Flanagan also found challenges in the single location and had to plan the cinematography to keep the film interesting to the audience, especially given the mute nature of the protagonist. To this end, Flanagan used a Steadicam to follow Seagal's every move, along with a boom mic and a spotter to make the movement more dynamic. The resulting audio for these scenes could not be used and had to be redone in post production. With Flanagan noting that the audio initially, in quotations, sounded like a herd of elephants.
Nice.
To represent Maddie's world, various ambient sounds were used, such as the sound of ultrasound machines. Flanagan did not want to use pure silence for these scenes, as he still felt it would make viewers even more aware of their surrounding and take them out of the experience. As a result of the aforementioned camera set in, Siegel had to ADR her own breath into the final film, and the film's soundtrack was composed by the Newton brothers. The main character Maddie and her sister Max are named after Kate Siegel's real-life niece and nephew. And it was Hush was one of 3 horror movies directed by Mike Flanagan to be released in 2016. The others 2 were Before Awake and Ouija Origin of Evil. Ouija Origin of Evil, is that the sequel?
I have no idea.
I think it's the sequel. I don't know, but I haven't seen any of the Ouija movies.
Neither have I.
And the movie was remade twice in India in 2019 under the titles, and I'm gonna butcher these, Kolayutir Kalam, which had Tamil language, and Kamoshi, which had Hindi language. Benjamin Lee of The Guardian said that Hush offers ingenious suspense and awarded it 4 out of 5 stars. Jeff Berkshire of Variety, though criticizing the film's third act, called it one of the more inspired concoctions to emerge from the busy Blumhouse horror thriller assembly line in recent years. Michael Gingold of Fangoria gave the film 3.5 stars out of 4, calling it a good old-fashioned, truly scary movie. Josef Wisner of TV Overmind gave the film a 4.7 out of 5, noting that thanks to the performances from its 2 leads, Hush succeeds in almost every aspect and delivers one of the best horror films in modern history. And the last thing I got here is Richard Newby of the website Audiences Everywhere called the film a modern slasher movie classic that's not to be missed. That's everything I got.
Yeah. And the movie altogether had only 5 actors.
Yes.
One of which was never actually like on the set, so to say, because they were over the phone with the main character. So only 4 characters altogether were like on the actual scene.
On location in the movie.
Yeah, it was actually on the location of the movie, which is pretty interesting. Which is also, I guess, why it felt so small in a sense. But that does make sense, as it is a home invasion movie. But yeah, what shall we watch next time? I guess I will answer that question.
Nothing apparently. Now we're covering Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood.
from 1988, I remember. I think.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
The first Kane Hodder Jason movie.
Yes. And what will we play out with today?
We are playing out with the Marias Hush.
Nice. I do believe we have said our pieces about this movie and what we think of it. So I think it is time for us to say goodbye to the good people.
Goodbye, good people.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, thanks for listening.
Don't act so special. What I do is not for you. Forget about it. You made this mess up. Knock at your door. Don't you ignore or forget about it. Got you